Real estate agents. I'm not one of you. I'm an investor. But I get a lot of leads that are a better fit for you. So do a lot of other investors. PlutusLeads.com is a marketplace that connects investors to agents. As an agent, go, sign up, costs you absolutely nothing. If you want to have a conversation and ask questions, call the phone number, speak to me directly. PlutusLeads.com today. You make stupid faces, you know that.
Hey,
Right?
what's GCA mean?
GCA, Grace
Yeah.
Christian Academy.
No, you put something like GCA in one of the
Put that
notes.
on Stone Ridge because it's right next door to Grace Christian Academy.
So you put GCA assuming that people know what GCA is?
Yeah,
Why didn't I know what GCA was?
because you're a heathen and you don't believe in God.
I'm going to go in and change it to Grace Christian
Go
Academy.
change it. No, any agent knows.
GCA?
If they are an agent in Carnes, then they're going to fucking know where the bougie ass private school is.
So when I saw GCA, I was like, okay, ARV, days on the DOM,
Okay. What could you do with GCA?
CGI, FBI, CNA, CNN. I'm like, what the fuck is GCA?
You could have just texted me.
Gross cost average, I think is what I
Gross
came
cost
up with,
average.
and I was
That's
like,
pretty good.
damn, Matt's a sophisticated motherfucker.
Yeah. No, I can throw all kinds of letters together. Talking shit. Call Carl right now and ask him, hey, what's GCA? If you got a listing close to GCA, what would your thoughts be?
No, you can't say close to GCA. What did the note say?
It said close to GCA.
Okay, close to
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I thought close to gross cost average.
Okay.
Monetary value is what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense too, but
All right, you got any good stories today?
well, we
I
got
don't
this
have
one, and then it got me thinking. So then I did a little digging. So this one's kind of short. We're going to start with a really short one. So this is a female agent, and she had an open house. And neighbor came over, and she describes him as a weird guy. And he walked over to her towards the end of it and said, will you come over to my house because I'm going to be moving to Texas. She's there alone. She didn't tell anyone that she was going to go and check this guy's house out. So she just followed this weird dude into his house without vetting him in any potential way. So she goes in. His home was right across the street from my listing. It was a neighborhood with nice homes that were close together, so they weren't isolated or anything. I was a newer agent, and I was always anxious and excited to pick up new buyers or sellers at open houses. So I didn't think twice about agreeing to go over, even though he did give me a weird vibe. Let's stop right there. We're both adults. Why would you not listen to your gut if somebody gives you a weird vibe?
Right.
If somebody gives you like, this is a weird dude, why wouldn't you just listen to that?
So
For
is that
money.
not part of just real estate though?
Yeah.
Like, do people just give weird vibes?
I mean, I'm sure they do. But I just think about it, I think about that sometimes in houses, but it's different because we're guys. So
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about getting raped.
I'd rape you.
I know you would. But, this fresh-faced little 20-something-year-old agent just follows some creepy 40-year-old guy into his house without telling anyone where she's going.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. No, that's true.
That's not good. Anyways, okay, so she goes over, and he walks her to the front door. They go inside, and he asks her to take a seat. She said that she would rather take a look around the house and talk at the same time. He got annoyed, tried to continue to get her to sit down, but then lamented and decided to give her a tour. The entire time they're walking through the house, he keeps insisting that she would go before him into each room. And she said no and told him to stay in front. And now she was scared because now she's in this house alone and she's kind of realizing
She's a
fucked
weirdo.
up and she doesn't know where this is going. So they get upstairs to his bedroom, and on the bedside table is a picture of a woman who looked like her. And she points it out, and he tells her how that is his ex-fiancée who recently left him for another man. And now she's even more scared because all of that. So she's freaking out internally, but trying to play it cool so that she doesn't escalate the situation. And her words, you'd think that I would make up some sort of an excuse and get out of the house or simply state that I'm uncomfortable and I'm leaving, but no, I continued to try and be polite. There's a lesson there. Fuck people's feelings. If you are uncomfortable and you're worried about your safety and well-being, who gives a shit if you offend a stranger? I'm getting upset. I don't even know this girl. All right, they go back downstairs. And this is where he wants me to go into the basement. She told him, all I need to know is the age of the mechanics, and there is really no reason at all for me to be in the basement. But he insists, and in a mocking way says, I'll go first so you're not scared. They proceed down the basement steps, and let's see, walk about 10 steps. Okay, so they get to the bottom of the basement steps, and then it's pitch black. So she's standing on the steps, and she said he had to walk about 10 feet across the room to turn on the lights in another part of the basement. So she stayed on the steps, kind of peeked around the corner into the darkness, and when the lights come on, the basement was completely empty except for an old stained mattress in the corner.
Jesus Christ.
So by the time he had turned around from turning on the light, she said, I was already at the top of the basement stairs, and 2 footsteps later, I was out the front door. Once she got outside, she got really angry with herself, angry with him for wasting her time and making her feel uncomfortable, and now felt stupidly brave because I was outside. So when he followed her out, she told him that she was not interested in taking his listing, and there were plenty of other real estate agents that would probably jump at the chance because it was a down market. At that moment, her husband called, and she answered and played the how close are you card, pretending that he was coming to get her. Once she got out of the situation, she researched the guy when she got home and found out that he was a complete troublemaker in the neighborhood, had sued the village, I would assume that's like the neighborhood, the HOA, I don't know, 5 times for stupid things, and had been arrested for kidnapping one of his children in a custody dispute. I changed a lot of things about how I conduct business after that day. Pepper spray and screening people before agreeing to meet at properties.
I would say that screening people is definitely crucial.
Well, why wouldn't you just meet me at the office? Like, oh, you want me to list your offer? That's great. Why don't you come on in here? We'll talk about it. That's a safe place. You're surrounded by coworkers. You're not in enemy territory.
Right.
But I also understand desperately wanting to get the listing.
One call close.
So they're just like, yeah, come over here and look at it and I'll sign whatever.
Yeah.
So you just get excited and go.
Yeah.
But this story led me to a bigger news story that most real estate agents have probably heard because I remember when it happened. But it's another one where she just didn't do any of that the right way. It was one that actually got killed at a showing. Let's see.
That happened, what, 6 years ago?
10 years ago, actually.
10 years ago now? Holy cow.
So after reading that short story, I started looking, and this is the tragic, horrible story of Beverly Carter and what happened to her in Nowhere, Arkansas about 10 years ago. She was a realtor. So that little short story got me thinking, so I started digging and looking for other people that had similar situations, and I found one where it actually didn't end well. She actually did end up getting murdered. This is a news story from Arkansas Online. So in 2014, Pulaski County deputies are searching Friday for a real estate agent who disappeared after going to show a house. Beverly Carter, age 50, of Scott, an agent for Crylike Realtors, was last heard from when she called her husband at 5:30 Thursday to say that she was going to show someone the home at this address. Her husband, Carl, told deputies that he became worried about 9 p.m. when he hadn't heard from his wife, so he went to the address to check on her. There, he found her brown Cadillac SUV parked in the driveway with her purse inside and saw the door to the home standing open. He searched the home for his wife but couldn't find her. Nothing seemed to be missing from her purse, and deputies couldn't find the home's door lock, according to the report. So, like, they busted out the door lock?
They couldn't find the door lock at all.
That's all it says.
That was weird.
On Friday morning, police tape roped off the driveway to the home Carter was showing, and a crime scene vehicle sat at the very front of the driveway. Carter's SUV, meanwhile, was parked farther down outside the home, with police evidence markers set on the ground near it. A number of real estate agents were circling the area looking for information. So after the initial rush and a text from her phone to her husband that was clearly not her, saying that she was going out for drinks when she didn't drink, more than 100 volunteers gathered to begin searching. Police were questioning residents, one of which said they saw a car back up to the front door with a middle-aged white dude with a shaved head get out. That was all they saw. So a couple of days after she had gone missing, a warrant was issued for the arrest of a suspect in the kidnapping. The sheriff's office said it was looking for Aaron M. Lewis, age 33, who was last known to live over there. He faces a charge of kidnapping and the disappearance of Beverly Carter, who has been missing for a few days. He's a person of interest. So, okay. So the way they caught this dude is he just randomly got spotted in that car. He crashed in a single vehicle wreck into a concrete culvert, busted himself up really good. And then the cops took him in for a CT scan because he was all covered in blood from the wreck. And then he escaped from the hospital before they could look at him and question him. So that's when he became a person of interest. Wonder why he wrecked.
So, and maybe we haven't got there yet, but who owned the house? Nobody knows?
Nope. Wasn't him.
It wasn't him, so it was...
He just, figured out some house in the middle of nowhere that was vacant and said...
That's why there wasn't a lock on it.
He busted the door open to get in there. And then used that as a way, because that way the property's not tied to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, if she would have researched that property and pulled tax records, she could have matched, because you can assume this guy was not smart enough to say he was the guy that owned that house. He probably made up a name and then found a house. And if she would have looked it up beforehand, she would have seen that the owner of that house was a different name than the one he gave, and that potentially could have saved her.
Right. What's next on the story?
So after he escaped from the hospital, everybody was going after him. There weren't any other leads. They just wanted to find him. Okay, here's a little bit more on the wreck. It was traveling fast when it went out of control in a curve and ended up in a ditch. Okay. And yeah, they didn't connect the dots until after he was in the hospital. And by the time they did and they came back to get him, he had just walked out, I guess. So they started circling pictures of him, trying to find him. He had an extensive criminal history, all kinds of felonies and stuff. Yeah, they went hard after him. Okay. Authorities overnight found the body of the missing real estate agent buried in a shallow grave on a property in an adjacent town. And the man arrested in her kidnapping has entered a preliminary innocent plea to capital murder charge. So, another one that I read gave a little bit more information on what happened between we need to find him and we found her. So he escaped from the hospital, disappeared. He had an ex-wife who played a very big part in all of this as well.
Yeah.
They were able to track all of those things to find where he lived. From where he lived, they were able to set up a perimeter, and it was actually just from a Good Samaritan because they were circling and throwing his picture everywhere. And he just randomly saw him at a bus stop. So he called 911 and said, hey, that guy's over here, and I just went up to talk to him, and it's definitely him. And then he walked into a Subway, and the cops got him in Subway. So that was how they caught him. So now that we're on that and they have found this poor woman's body, the cops are questioning him for more than 12 hours after his arrest. I just want to see again. So this would have been a few days after she went missing. Okay. And he was giving him the runaround, like he was making up excuses. He was one of those that kind of enjoyed the attention.
Oh, yeah.
And giving them lots of false leads and sending them down paths towards nothing. Gave them hope that she was still alive. On his phone, they found a recording of her telling her husband that she's safe and she's fine and just give him the money that he's asking for and she'll be returned unharmed. So they found that video after they found her body. The property that they found her on was a property that he worked for. So I don't even want to read the rest of this. I'm just going to tell you from what I remember from reading.
Must have been a commercial building.
It was a concrete business.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, it was just a big property, and he just buried her in a shallow grave in the back corner. So the plan that this guy had, he and his ex-wife were done with each other, and they desperately needed money. And their thought was, let's get one of them rich brokers and kidnap her and then hold her for a ransom. So these idiots basically just Googled female realtor, and she had the misfortune of being the first name that popped up. They did no research. They had no idea if this woman had any money. They just decided that because she's a real estate agent, they can kidnap her and hold her for a $100,000 ransom, and her husband will pay it. So the Aaron Lewis, that's the murderer's name, he goes to the house to meet her. She gets there. For a minute, he pretends like he's showing the property. She starts to get wind of what's going wrong and tries to leave, and he pulls out a taser and says something. You're being kidnapped, whatever.
Yeah.
Throws her in the trunk. His plan initially was to take her to the concrete business and keep her there in one of the outbuildings alive until they could get the ransom money. But when he got to the concrete business, he realized that there were people working, and so he couldn't do that. So then he brought her to his ex-wife's house and put her in the bathroom. And after he locked her in the bathroom, he realized that she could look at the medicine bottles in the cabinet and know their names. So then he changed plans again, and he decided that he was going to just get her debit card and just take all the money out of the bank. But he left the debit card at the crime scene. So then he tried to go back to the crime scene in order to get the purse. But when he got there, the cops were already there. So he came right back to the house. And then this poor woman died in a horrible way because he decided he had screwed everything up and the only thing to do was to kill her. So he just wrapped her entire head in duct tape until she suffocated and died. And then buried her in a shallow grave.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm actually not well versed on that story.
Yeah. You're not?
No. Not
It was,
at all.
yeah.
Yeah,
It was
dark.
It was fucked up. Now, and then he was telling the cops that she's still alive. And they were like, well, is she okay? Whatever. And he's like, well, I mean, she's going to need food and water soon, but I'm not going to tell you where she is unless you play ball. And then he was loving the news reporters and telling them all kinds of stupid stuff. But they were able to track him to that concrete company. And then it did not take them long because this guy was not a smart criminal to find what was clearly disturbed soil in the back corner. And then they found her, like her head still fully wrapped in duct tape. And that was her end. All because she didn't vet that buyer and she just went. And then in court, I got pissed.
I read a little bit about that.
Okay.
I mean, you could probably tell it better than me. Was it the defense attorney?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked.
The defense attorney was talking about how, well, no, it was consensual. She went to his house just to have sex because their marriage was terrible. And the defense attorney spent the entire time just bashing her and her family and saying what a terrible person she was and how unhappy she was. And that
Attorneys are scum.
they really are.
Yeah, I'll die on that hill.
Yeah. But no, they did all that. And then, no, they deliberated for like all of 30 seconds. It was one of those where they all just like walked out and walked right back in and said guilty. But Yeah, and the one good thing that did come from this, and we're gonna give them a little bump. I think it was just called the Beverly Carter. Let's see. Her son, she had a son who decided to do everything in his power to make sure that this didn't happen to anyone ever again. And he actually also invented something that's really fucking cool. Yeah.
Really?
So he started the Beverly Carter Foundation, which is just a place to train real estate agents and realtors, mostly women, on how to stay safe and not put yourself in situations where horrible things can happen to you. And then the thing that he invented, it looks like a little charm. I can't remember the name of it. It looks like this little charm, and it has her initials on it, and it comes in different colors, and you can wear it on a bracelet or on your keychain or as a necklace. And if you just press it, that thing is connected to everyone in your inner circle, and so it will send everyone in your inner circle your GPS coordinates and like a text, email, just blast them in every way saying that you're in danger and need help. That's pretty
awesome.
cool. I don't know. Y'all just be safe out there. Don't put yourself in situations where you could end up with your head wrapped in duct tape. Also, I'm not above guns. Just bring a gun with you. Just dry fire a revolver at every potential client.
There you
Just
go.
to show dominance.
Just
That's
shirt
it.
dominant.
Yeah, just dry fire that revolver straight at their face anytime they move.
Got any lighthearted stories? Got any pick-me-ups?
I mean, here's one about like a seller who drowned a bunch of puppies in front of an agent. That's made up. That's not a real. I'm sure it has happened, but I just made that up.
You got any good pick-me-ups?
I mean,
Make me feel good for a little bit?
you don't like that story?
That was dark. I didn't like it at all.
You don't like that?
I didn't even like knowing it.
No.
All I knew is that, which it happens, unfortunately, is that, people get murdered. That's the extent of what I knew, but that's a dark story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I want to hear a good Ponzi scheme again.
No. You gonna go ahead and end that one there?
Yeah. Bye.